Alrighty, what is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Tyler Creates YouTube channel. My name is Tyler, for all of you new people have joined. The last video did extremely well, so that was my generator video. I'm going to do a follow-up video on it. This is going to be a brief video. I may double upload this with another video, but I just want to go over again kind of something that I missed, and that was the charging time for this alternator. This alternator is on it's internally regulated. For those of you that maybe don't know or haven't seen, there will be a link up here to video 1. Pardon the rooster in the background crowing. I don't know why he's doing that. For those of you that don't know, roosters do not just crow in the morning. They crow all times of the day. Super sunny out, so yesterday it was raining. Couldn't kind of film yesterday, but where was I? Last video, I did a video on this generator alternator setup that I did with a really old Briggs & Stratton, like 3-horse and a Bosch alternator. And the Bosch alternator is internally regulated and has I don't quite know what it's called. It charges on a curve based on what the battery is needing. So if the battery's dead, it's going to be charging really high when the battery's starting to get filled up with energy, because that's what it is. The battery's filling up with electrons, I guess. I'm not like an electrician or anything like that. Batteries fill up like you'd fill up a cup of water, except it's electricity, I guess. As it fills up, the amperage will go down. So in that video I showed, it started out like 15, and then towards the end of that video I think it was around 9. But I actually want to test and get a timeline of how long this thing's going to take to charge 2 batteries. Now these batteries are temporary. At some point I would like to get preferably some Walmart deep cycle batteries, because they're a good price, and they seem to have a good warranty and things like that, and they're a good price. Or I have to look into it, a Renogy deep cycle, the like giant 200 amp hour ones. But the issue with those is I don't know, I thought I remember reading a review somewhere that those weren't accurate, because they're supposedly 200 amp hours. You could drain it to 100 amp hours, which my batteries right now only have, I think, 30 amp hours. So I've been using these and I have not drained them yet fully. In this video I'm going to drain them down until the lights start flickering. That's how I did the test a long time ago. It's been months. What I did was I ran them till the lights started flickering, and to me that was the point of the batteries are not able to supply 12 volts anymore. For those of you that don't know, with lead acid or deep cycle, anything that's not like lithium, you don't want to go below 50% DOD or depth of discharge, because it starts to degrade the lead plates inside the batteries. So using my inverter is not a great way to do that, because the inverter has a cutoff voltage of like 10.5 volts, and batteries is like, I'm pretty sure that's like dead, like actually 0%. So you're only supposed to discharge them to 50%, which is like 11.9 ish. So I was using them, and they have quite the draw. So when I turn everything on, I calculated it this last time I did it, probably been 5 days, maybe a little more than 5, maybe a week. When I was using my computer and I have a desktop and a TV screen as my computer screen. When I was using those, the draw was down to 11.8, but when you turned everything off, it jumped back up and settled out at 12.5. Now 12.5 is, so supposedly 12.5 on my chart here that I have for open circuit voltage, at rest, no load, state of charge. 12.5 for lead acid batteries is 80%. Supposedly under draw 11.8, which is what they were at when I was using stuff, was 30. So the issue is it's not accurate to measure voltage when it's under draw. I'm not a battery guy. I've tried like understanding this stuff, and it's kind of difficult to understand. So enough of me yapping along here. We're gonna get to it and get this thing switched over. One thing I got to remember is I cannot run this heater. This heater is 1500 watts. My inverter is only good for 500. Now we are at, this is a tight area to get into. What are we at here? Whoa, 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 whoa. 12.3, so we're actually a little lower now because I have had the solar disconnected here, so the batteries will drain down. Another thing I didn't want to take all this off because my batteries are located down here in my little makeshift battery box deal with a vent. I didn't want to have to take this off every time I wanted to plug it in, so what I did is took the studs on the bottom of the inverter there, and let's see if I can get it in focus here. So I took the studs on the bottom of the inverter there and put nuts on them. What they originally had were these plastic guys here, and what that allows me to do is just hook up my jumper cables straight to that and then run them out. I would like to at some point get what is called bulkheads or through wall terminals, and what that would allow me to do is just run studs right out through the wall somehow, and then I could just completely have the whole setup out here, because as of right now I have to like leave the door open, and it works okay on sunny days, but if it's pouring rain or freezing cold, I would like to be able to have my door shut. So we're at 12.3, so we're actually getting pretty low here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna switch 12 volt over on here to batteries, and I'm going, oh, just bust my computer. Oh, I did, I just chipped a chunk off of it. Having this computer here is not great. Really would like a laptop. Honestly, I'm not even gonna get into that. Okay, so I switched over to 12 volt battery. You just saw that. We're drawing 0.72 of a milliamp. Now I'm going to turn some lights on. I may just run lights if it's enough, or 0.72 of a milliamp. Well, it is 0.72 of a milliamp, 73 milliamps. It's not 0.72. This thing's kind of hard to read sometimes. It's 70 milliamps, not 0.72 of a milliamp. Okay, so I switch that over. We'll turn this guy on, crank it up to full, and we'll turn this one on, crank it up to full. We'll turn this one on, crank it up to full. We are now drawing 2.5 amps at 11.1 volts. You can see that now. So we are down to 11.9 volts under load right now, using only DC stuff. I do not have my power plugged into my inverter here. My power is ran out via that extension cord right there. I was going to do that, but we're running enough of a load that I think it should drain it down. So I'm just going to do the same test here. I don't want to wait till these lights start flickering. It shouldn't take too long. We're running almost 4 amps, so in an hour that will be 4 amp hours. Yes, that's right, 4 amp hours, which will work out to be, I don't know, 4 times 12 is wattage, I believe. Is that right? So I'm gonna get back to y'all when things change, and yeah, we'll go from there. Oh, another thing I need to unplug because I'm not using it. I tried to remember to unplug it. This is my 12 volt converter that's from the 70s. It's some Newark, I believe that and this head unit go together. This is only a 15 amp deal. It's a Newark Electro Center Model 15. Real simple. I didn't write this in, but 15 amp hood, 15 amp heater, 15 amp lights, 10 amp water pump. So, and then there's AC in here as well, but oh, I hear the LEDs making different noise. These LEDs kind of hum. I had to put ferrite core line filters in here on the LEDs power wire to try to get them to not whistle. They were like high-pitched squealing. So I like to unplug this because I don't know, it could be trying to backfeed into the system somehow. So I just unplug it there. But yeah, that's good enough. So alright everyone, so this has been running for a while. We are down to 10.3 volts under load, 3.28 amps, and I'm going to go ahead and turn off the inverter. I was wrong on my chart that I'm reading off of. 12.1 is 50%, 11.9 is 40 supposedly. So the issue that I'm seeing here is that the under load voltage is getting down around 10, which the low voltage alarm on this is 10.5 give or take, and the cutoff voltage is 9, so this thing would probably start shutting off around that time. So I'm going to go ahead and let this sit for a little while, see how much it recovers. It says 12.2, but I don't buy that. The lights have been running for a really long time, and it was already low on voltage to begin with, so I'm going to let it sit. It's 12:14. I'll let it sit for 15 minutes and then come back, and we'll see what it's at then. Alrighty y'all, on second thought, I'm going to drain this some more. It's already returning somehow to 12.3, which is getting up in percent. So what I'm actually going to do is unplug this. I'm going to unplug this from the extension cord, and I'm going to plug this in up here. This thing will draw some power once I plug it in and then turn it on. So just this inverter with this plugged in. The only thing I have plugged in is that on standby and that charger, this, which is a little LED light, and my phone is not plugged in. We're going to turn my computer on. Oh, it won't even. What? Ooh, what's going on? Okay. Something's not happy. My computer would not start, which means this thing actually might be dead. The fault light was going off. Okay. This thing's actually dead. 12.3. This is why you don't trust the voltage on the screen there. So we're gonna actually be able to see, I'm gonna reset this and that, and we will be able to see what the alternator charges this up to and see how much the battery actually holds. So I'm gonna go ahead and call that dead. Hopefully I didn't hurt my power supply. I gotta plug this in and make sure I didn't mess something up here. So I turned the computer on. It works fine on shore power. This thing must be dead enough. The batteries must be to where it's not able to power this up, because you guys saw there it was getting a fault and not actually turning on. So that means that, in my opinion, that would mean there's no juice in the batteries for it to not be able to even power on. So I'm gonna get the jumper cables hooked up and get the alternator generator out here, and we will see how it all goes. Alrighty everybody, so we're supposedly, I'd say, out of juice here. I got the these are insulated, so I got it hooked up. Again, this is temporary, but I need to go in here and go hold that down. You go down, down, hold it. Cleared, hold again, down, 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 hold it, and then we'll do, we'll clear the runtime as well. This has been running 56 hours supposedly. Alright, so the only thing I have running on this right here, as you can see, 52 milliamps is my exhaust fan, and whatever the standby is for this LED light. So let's go hook these up right now, and let's see how this goes. Alrighty everybody, I added some oil. We're gonna see if we can get this thing going here this morning. See if we can get it. What? How's that right? That's not right. 12.2. How's that right? Well, I guess we're just gonna let it go. Man, we didn't even get a jump up to 20 or anything. We're already down to 10. The camera has a hard time focusing on this. It's not that bright in real life. It's like quite dark. Well, I'm gonna let this thing run, and we'll be able to calculate our milliamp hour capacity and our watt hour capacity. So I'm gonna let this run and I'll get back to y'all. Alrighty everyone, so about 15 seconds ago I went inside real quick. Of course, when I go inside, it just shut off for some reason. I don't know what happened, if it got something in the pickup tube. I fiddled around with it and it fired right back up, so I'm gonna just continue letting it go. We're at, supposedly we're at almost 15 minutes in. Wait a minute. So we're actually a little over 50, we're almost at 20 minutes now. So, I don't know, this doesn't seem like it's doing as good. Maybe it's just me. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it died again. It just kind of piddled out. I don't know if it's because the gas is boiling. It's hot. Come on, let me want to fly. What? I wonder if it's hydro locking, or not hydro locking, but see if I can not burn my hand here. I don't understand. What? It's got gas in it. this thing's accurate. Supposedly this right now is reading 58. Reading 62. I just don't buy that the head is 500 degrees, but maybe. I mean, the cooling fan obviously is working. And 120, yeah, it's 40 minutes. And we've only got 5.2 amp hours. That does not seem great. I really wish I could, like, make this alternator put out, like, more power. Alrighty everyone, so we're gonna let this thing run until 143. The engine died on me again. I don't know what the issue is. I think it's boiling the fuel in the carburetor. So, wait for this time to change. It keeps like puttering out, like it'll be going along and then just kind of like and like just fizzle out. Okay, I'm gonna go shut it off. 143. So we're at an hour. Okay, wow. Let's disconnect all that. The thing is running worse and worse. I'm wondering if that exhaust is boiling. That exhaust is getting hot. Let's go ahead and take these off. So supposedly, this is ran through a shunt and everything. In 1 hour, we only got 7.28 amp hours, 101 watt hours. Flow voltage is 13. It's going to be super inflated right now because it's just had a whole bunch of power pumped into it. When we shut it off, it was around 6 amps in. Nothing is hot. I've checked here multiple times. These aren't hot, so resistance, that would indicate that there was resistance. So for an hour, we got 7.28 amp hours. And the voltage is already dropping 12.9. Let me see what full voltage is. I think it's 12 points. I actually don't know what it is. And this, our main focus. So I'm gonna let this thing trickle charge. Once this thing decides whatever is full, it'll turn green, and then I will come back to y'all when that happens. Alright everybody, I have no clue. I switched back off the trickle chargers and went back to the alternator. It just ran out of fuel though, and I was helping my dad with something. It's 348. Alrighty everybody, so it's been a long time. We're down to 3.61 amps. I'll calculate it. It's quite a while. It doesn't use gas too bad. Oh, and I think it's got an overheating issue. I'm gonna go talk about that actually right now. So, something I think is happening. This thing is sucking hot air in and just like superheating. So I need to maybe create a shield for this or something. But the original exhaust was like that big, but the gas tank down there is getting like, supposedly the thermometer said 250, so little hot for the old gas tank. But I think this thing is also sucking hot air in, which is making it worse. I don't know what these temps are supposed to be. Supposedly these heads are supposed to be 250, which this one's like 3, so I don't know if that's too hot. But yeah, that's off, and let's go in here I disconnected. I can just take this off and this off. Set those down. Okay, I gotta write this down. Alright everyone, sorry about that. Turn the lights on there. So, my calculations. An hour and 52 minutes yielded us 174 watt hours and 12.55 amp hours. That's almost 2 hours. I don't think that's very great. 2 hours yielded 174 watt hours. So it's 174, average of 174 watts for 1 hour. And 12.55 amp hours, or 12.5 amps for 1 hour. So this is an experiment. If you haven't watched video 1, this is kind of a whole experiment with this thing. I'm not quite sure. You'll have to let me know with these Bosch alternators. There's 2 power wires and 1 originally blue wire that's supposed to be the excite wire, I think. I'm not quite sure with Bosch alternators. I tried doing research and most people don't use them. Another option maybe would be to put a actual like generator head on there. Like I think you can purchase them on Amazon or eBay, like 300 watt. But would that does it put out 300 watts on? Do I have to run it through a regulator? You can kind of get what I'm saying. So I don't know how long this video is, but I'm gonna go ahead and end it there and kind of wait for your guys' feedback on what you think. If it's good, tell me it's good. Like, well, that's pretty average. I would prefer, my goal with this thing, the whole reason I created it, is if I would go camping or boondocking or whatever, I'd like to be able to have power other than solar. I do plan on getting another solar panel because they're cheap and it's good insurance for what, 55, 60 bucks. I have one 100 watt up there, and I'm going to do a video on my solar setup as soon as maybe I get another panel in. But I don't feel like that's great. And I ended up using probably 3/4 of a tank of gas, so I don't know how big that tank is. Maybe half a gallon. I honestly don't know how big that tank is, so yeah, and it's shutting off. I don't know. This thing, the last video did so good, it almost has sentimental value, because the video just did really well, and I worked really hard on it. But at the same time, is it worth keeping? You know what I'm saying? Because I did look in generator alternator, or generators like you buy. The cheapest one I think was 12 volts at 8 amps. But is that also regulated? So like when the battery fills up, is it not actually 8 amps? Anyways, I'm gonna end this video here, and alright everybody, it's the next day. I just kind of ran out of time to film last night, and I felt like I was being rushed because I kind of want to close some things out here and get your all opinions on some things, like how do I fix this? Is it fixable? This heater can get turned. So the way I'm gauging whether or not the batteries are full is via this charger right here, this trickle charger. It's a 1 amp trickle charger, and we just use it kind of around the property for all the batteries that need maintained and stuff. But it has not turned green, and I did go ahead and plug the solar back in, and we're reading 14 volts, 420 milliamps going in, minus 55 watts, and that's not counting solar, which right now is going to be, it is sunny out, so the solar is going to be, let's see if I can not pop a fuse. What is going on? This is so difficult. I'm gonna plug this into the stinking, this is going to get plugged into the battery monitor. 1.8 amps, 1.83. So there's a significant amount of energy flowing into these batteries. I hope I didn't actually drain them too low. I go by voltage when I drain these down, and supposedly we're at 20 amp hours, and I don't know, what do you guys think those have? There's some Les Schwab starting batteries from like 2017. What do they have well, one's from 2020, one's from 2017. How much amp hours do they have? I mean, they're probably like horrendous. But so for my calculations, we ran that alternator generator 2 hours yesterday, got 174 watt hours out of it, and 12.55 amp hours. That was minus that time where I turned the computer on. And this morning I woke up and we have 248 amp hours and 18.2, or 248 watt hours and 18.2 amp hours. So it's actually like 230 something watt hours and 17 point something amp hours, maybe 16. So normally I would have more of a constructed video, but I kind of want all y'all's opinion on it. Is this just the way it is? I did read quite a lengthy message on a forum that was basically talking about how you couldn't have a battery get charged at a high amperage all the time because it would off gas severely, one reason, and second, it can like heat the battery up and damage it. And obviously I don't want to do that if this really is the only option, if the alternator really is only able to put out, you know, whatever the battery needs. I guess that's what it is. Obviously we're doing an extreme scenario that was with no solar hooked up, and the batteries had been sitting for days at like 12.3, which apparently when batteries sit not at 100% lead acid, it's actually bad for them. Batteries need to be stored at 100%, I guess, from what I was reading. So yeah, I'm not quite sure. We're experimenting. Obviously this is kind of an experiment. It is an experiment. I did put the generator away last night because I didn't want it to get rained on, but yeah, I don't know what else to film because I was trying to think like, what else could I ask? What else could I say? But there really isn't much to say or ask other than what I've already asked and said, which is like, is this really all that I can do? One question I do have is, do store-bought generators, I'm sure I could look this up, I would assume a store-bought generator has a cutoff just like an alternator would. So like if you were to hook a battery up to a store-bought generator that's rated for 12 volts at 8 amps, at some point it doesn't put out 8 amps anymore because the battery's full. Does it put out 8 amps? I'm not understanding. I thought I was under maybe the wrong impression that the alternator would... The reason I was under the wrong impression is I just did a search on the internet and it was like, yeah, an alternator will charge your batteries in 20 minutes. And it was like, oh, that's really quick. No, it was 2 hours and like, I don't know how long we're in now, 10, 12 hours, and the batteries still aren't charged. With a trickle charger, with solar, and now with the alternator going. So I'm not quite sure. Maybe I damaged them. I am aware that they're like very old, like 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. And we're going on, so they're like 6 years, 7 years. 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. 7 years. So one of those batteries is 7 years old. Probably doesn't hold much amp hours. And the fact that the other one's a 2020 date code, who knows? One battery, they're wired 12 volts, but amp hours increases. I don't have them wired in series, I have them in parallel, but I'm not gonna talk anymore. I'm gonna go ahead and end this video and kind of wait for maybe some constructive criticism, maybe some ideas. But yeah, if anyone wants to look up the Bosch alternator, it's a Bosch AL25X alternator. It's out of a 1970s Volkswagen, but it's the 65 amp model. So yeah, 65 amps obviously is its capable output, but yesterday it only output 10 amps for like a couple minutes. I mean, for the last, so one thing I did read is for a battery to go from like 50 to 80% will happen really fast, but then that last 30% or something will take forever, because I guess it's trying to find, it's storing the electricity slower because it's more full, so it has to take more time to store electricity. But I'm just kind of going along here. Maybe if you're some electrical guy, or maybe you've just had experience in this field, comments would be greatly appreciated. But other than that, hope the Lord's watching over all you. Keep me all safe out there, and I'll catch you in the next one. God bless. So I wasn't going to do this for this video, but I was feeling kind of called to. This video kind of blew up, but I'm going to start reading Bible verses at the end of my videos, just as a little maybe get me up for somebody, or a little inspiration or something for somebody that needs it. But feeling like the Lord's calling me to do so. So I wasn't gonna do it like I said for this video, but I'm feeling called to. So Psalm 109 verses 30 through 31 read this: With my mouth I give thanks to the Lord. I will praise him in the midst of the throng, for he stands at the right hand of the needy one, to save him from those who condemn his soul to death. Catch you guys all in the next video. God bless.